Right, so Artemis is listed on the ASX primarily. We've also got secondary listings on OTC and Frankfurt. We're based in the West Pilbara. Focus is gold and copper. We're debt-free and have a fairly tight board structure. Most of the work is being done by myself and the non-exec director, and we use consultants to drive the company forward. Artemis is a recovery story, and I've been focusing fairly heavily on Carlow Castle, which I'll talk about. So we own the Radio Hill processing plant, bought it about just over 2 years ago for about $4 million. We bought it before we needed it, but it's the only plant within about 400 kilometres, so it gives us the ability to quickly go to production once we get an economic resource. So Carlow is the project that we're looking to bring towards a scoping study fairly quickly. So we own Radio Hill processing plant 100%. Carlow Castle will just released a resource upgrade to 8 million tonnes, inferred resource that sits within a Whittle pit shell that we've estimated about $9,000 for copper, $2,000 for gold, and 38,000 for cobalt, and within that we've reported, like saying, 8 million tonnes. And that result is from a resource which is 1.2 kilometres long, drilled from surface down to a depth of 150 metres, remains open at depth, and it's 35 kilometres from the plant. We believe that we've got enough anomalies to the west of the current resource from work we've done. We've got 21 anomalies that we think that we can reasonably cheaply grow the resource base. And once we do a little bit of work on some of those new anomalies out to the west, we will then come up with an exploration target to grow the project. We also have Patersons Range tenement, Havieron, or a tenement that surrounds Havieron, which has been drilled by, with Newcrest, a Greatland Gold, and there's been some great success in that area. We also have exposure to Conglomerate hosted gold with a joint venture with a Canadian company, Novo Resources Corp. So our primary focus has been, as I was saying, is to focus on the Carlow Castle gold, copper and cobalt project. The resource we've just put out, the independent consultants have said we need 9 diamond drill holes for about a total of 1,800 metres, do some acid-soluble copper assays, and then from there, at a cost of about $800,000, that will then convert a large percentage of the inferred resource to indicated. On the back of indicated, we'll be able to do financial modelling and also look at doing a scoping study, and then we can look at moving the project towards feasibility. So we'd be looking to try and be reasonably aggressive with our time frame. We'd like to drill in the next couple of months, like to get the scoping study out around February next year and have a feasibility completed by the end of 2020. Secondary focuses are that having Radio Hill, we can look at potential toll treatment in the area. We're the only plant within about 350 to 400 kilometres. We own other assets like Wandoo Copper, which we could potentially look to put through Radio Hill, and I'm looking at doing a PFS at the moment on that with a private group who have SXEW plant, so look at potential for produce copper cathode. And we are going to refine our targets at Armada. Our strategy at the moment is that Newcrest has to spend $65 million on Havieron to earn 70%. And with it being a structural resource and the depth of about 400 metres below surface, the best plan for us is to sit back and wait for Newcrest to really refine what is going on, and every day they're drilling, they get closer to our tenement boundary.
What's the timeline on doing feasibility or
Wandoo, at the moment, the group is looking at it and they're due to get back to me within the next about a week actually. And we're also going to just continue to support Novo Resources with Conglomerate Gold. Our real focus, like I said, is Carlow Castle. We're looking at traditional orogenic gold, something we can put through our plant that makes sense to the board of management. We're also looking at other assets that we own. We have quite a few, and we're looking to divest those, and that will provide money for us to spend on Carlow Castle. So the tenement package that I acquired over the last couple of years, we have nearly 2,500 square kilometres, all centred around Karratha. Infrastructure is excellent. It's all been put in place for oil and gas and for the iron ore sector. So our plant sits 25 kilometres south of Karratha. Carlow Castle is about 35 kilometres by road, and we don't need to provide anything else. Everybody can live in Karratha. We don't need to worry about camps, and it's a 2-hour flight from Perth. So the plant was originally built in 1986, operated by AGIP, and for a very short period of time, Titan Resources mined nickel and copper, and then Fox Resources continued on that. Plant went into care and maintenance in 2008, and then we acquired it about just over a year ago, probably 2 years, time goes quick, and we've refurbished the whole front end of the plant and have a gravity plant installed with 76 cubic metres of new flotation, which will be installed once we refine the metallurgy for Carlow Castle. Essentially, that's the flow sheet for gravity gold, and we'll be looking at doing dual bar from gravity, copper gold flotation, and then we'll be looking at, after refined metallurgy for Carlow, looking at what we do with the next steps. So the resource we brought out yesterday was a 60% increase in gold, 25% increase in copper, and 15% increase in the cobalt. The resource we've reported within a Whittle pit shell, and the work program to convert the indicated resource to, the inferred resource to indicated is underway at the moment with sourcing drill rigs and looking how we advance the project. Like saying, the work program is about $800,000, so we're looking at ways that, or looking at the ability to very cheaply get ourselves into a position where we can put out a scoping study in February next year. So the resource itself at Carlow is fairly robust. It's over a strike of 1.2 kilometres. It's structurally controlled. The widths of the mineralisation is about 60 metres wide. High grade zones are about 20 metres wide. Effectively, the resource goes down to the limited drilling. We've not closed it off at depth or along strike. And definitely see that we think there is a good scope for increasing the ounces or metal tonnes that we've currently reported. Here are a couple of shots of what the core looks like. It's structurally controlled, structurally hosted. So we're also looking at, off the back of doing a scoping study later on with metallurgy, that would potentially look at ore sorting as well as a way to upgrade the ore, but it won't be something that's fundamentally going to be used in the feasibility. The work program, as I said before, we've got between 6 and 9 diamond drill holes that we need to drill, and with the acid-soluble copper, we'll look to get that resource into indicated. Metallurgy work that has been done to date is excellent, with high recoveries. So the first couple of rounds show that we are on the right track, that the difficulties are not high. In the Whittle shapes, we can see what has been reported, and the inferred resource sits within those pit shells, and there is all that sits outside of it, but we've not reported that. So essentially, just recapping on the work programs are that we plan to move to indicated fairly quickly, and then get out scoping study and move to feasibility next year. We've got 21 targets to the west, so we've got a lot of scope, we believe, to increase the resources. Armada, which surrounds Havieron, which we can sit on. Conglomerate hosted gold, which we allow Novo to deal with. And effectively a recap to say that we're moving towards a feasibility and we want to get into copper and gold production. as soon as possible. Thank you very much.